Hey everybody, Chuck Holton here. Two commercial ships have now been sunk in the Red Sea in less than a week as Houthi attacks on global shipping reach a dangerous new level. On Sunday, the Magic Seas, which is a bulk carrier, Greek owned, was struck by a missile and later went down. Then on Wednesday, another ship, the Eternity Sea, also flagged in Liberia, and a cargo vessel was attacked in what might be the most brazen Houthi operation to date.
Yes, the Houthis are clearly back as a maritime threat actor, right? They never stopped attacking Israel. So despite all this talk about a ceasefire with the US, the attacks on Israel continued. But indeed, we haven't seen any real attacks on merchant shipping since December last year, and they're back with a bang.
First, the Eternity Sea was hit by an explosive drone. Then the Houthi fighters boarded the ship, and according to a video they released, it shows them moving through the vessel with rifles drawn, firing into walls, smashing windows. After seizing control of the ship, they planted explosive charges on the hull and then detonated them, sinking the ship. Now, out of 25 crew members that were on board, only 6 have been rescued. At least 3 are confirmed dead, and the rest are missing. And that raises a strong possibility that many of them were killed during the assault or were taken hostage. Now, this marks a major escalation in a campaign that's already targeted more than 100 commercial ships since November alone. It's not happening in a vacuum.
Yes, if I were to venture a guess, it has to do with Netanyahu being in Washington and with the fact that, of course, Iran and its network of allies has been taking a bit of a beating in the last couple of months.
Just days before these most recent attacks, the Trump administration quietly approved a policy shift that allows Iran to sell oil directly to China, openly and legally. They didn't have a press release or headlines, but it's the biggest change in U.S. sanctions enforcement on Iran in decades. And it might have pulled the rug out from under the Houthis. So for years, the Houthis acted as Iran's smuggling arm in the Red Sea. They helped move sanctioned crude through disguised shipping networks. Chinese-owned logistics firms played a role. So did independent refineries in China. And the money often flowed through crypto platforms linked to Beijing's underground economy. That operation funded much of the Houthis' arsenal: missiles, drones, explosives, you name it. But now that China can buy directly from Iran, the smuggling route isn't necessary. The Houthis might have just lost one of their biggest income streams. And that could explain the sudden surge in new maritime attacks. They're desperate for relevance and for cash, and the Houthis are now turning back to piracy and intimidation. There's evidence that some ships were previously paying the Houthis protection money just to pass through the Red Sea waters safely. So they're turning up the pressure now. But who are the Houthis? And why haven't repeated U.S. and Israeli strikes been able to stop them? The Houthis are officially known as Ansar Allah, and they're a Shiite insurgent group backed by Iran. Now, they began as a Zaidi revivalist movement in northern Yemen in the 1990s, and they rose to power after the death of Hussein al-Houthi, who is the group's namesake. But by 2014, they had overthrown Yemen's government, seized the capital Sana'a. Since then, they've held control over much of northern Yemen, including key ports and infrastructure. And they've made their intentions perfectly clear. Their flag literally reads, "God is great, death to America, death to Israel, curse the Jews, victory to Islam." So they're not hiding their ideology. And over the last 9 months or so, the Houthis have launched dozens of missiles and drone attacks on commercial vessels at the United States and at Israel itself. Most of their long-range strikes towards Israel have been intercepted. Often, they don't even make it to Israeli territory. But the intent is clear. They're trying to show that they can hit back, even if the military impact is minimal. In response, the United States, Israel, and the UK have launched multiple rounds of airstrikes on Houthi positions. They've targeted missile sites, drone facilities, command centers, but the results have also been limited.
Now, the only axis of resistance actor who has had much capacity to attack on their own in recent months, at least, have been the Houthis. And well, they've been reasonably quiet since December last year, but they're clearly back at it. And I mean, what we're also seeing from these attacks is, of course, that they still have the capability. So despite the intense aerial attacks by both Israel and the United States since the beginning of the year, that has not been enough to deter them from attacking merchant vessels.
The Houthis operate in a way that makes them pretty hard to hit. Their systems are mobile. Their fighters blend in with civilians. And honestly, they're used to absorbing strikes. They wear them like a badge of honor. Now, this is a type of asymmetric warfare, and it's playing out in one of the world's most strategic choke points. Before the war, over $1 trillion in trade passed through the Red Sea every year. That flow's now been drastically reduced. Shipping companies are rerouting around the Cape of Good Hope, which adds weeks to delivery time and billions in costs. Now, with Iran no longer needing smuggling routes, the Houthis are losing their strategic value. They're no longer the essential middlemen, but that also makes them more dangerous. And they're adapting. They're striking harder. They're sinking ships, taking hostages, hoping they're going to force their way back into the conversation through violence and fear and chaos. So this isn't just a local threat in the Red Sea. It's a global one. And it's not just about Yemen or even Israel. It's about Iran, China, energy markets, and the future of maritime security. The Red Sea is becoming a battlefield again, and the Houthis are proving they'll do whatever it takes to stay in the fight. Thanks for watching. Please like and share this podcast. Make sure you go to chuckholton.com and sign up over there for a lot of extra content. Take care.